And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Johnny, we take requests. If you need a drop that you've just got to hear, email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and we'll email you an MP3 of any drop that you love to hear on the show. Sometimes a listener wants a mashup, and Eric wants to know what it would sound like if Sheng Tao ever hung out with Cudahy Vice Mayor Cynthia Gonzalez.
Fighting our turn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you imagine being the third in that row on an airplane to Australia?
I want to know where all the cholos are at.
And he said, absolutely.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. The top story in the nation is that the big, beautiful bill passed the House of Representatives today. We know that earlier in the week it was approved by the United States Senate. President Donald Trump traveling through the state of Iowa today and celebrating. My guess is there's going to be a party on Air Force One, and if he drank, he would probably partake in that, but since Diet Coke is all he does, that's what he'll be consuming.
Maybe he'll have 2 Big Macs instead of 1.
Hey, it's the 4th of July. People are supposed to eat burgers this weekend, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
All right. We'll have more on that later on in the program with Steve Hilton, formerly of the Fox News Channel, now running for governor of California. But right now it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, the first edition of the Blotter is an update on a story we brought to you months ago.
This is the story in San Jose of a crazy homeless guy that attacked a child for no reason. He gets arrested, and because California's got a California, he's back out on the street after less than a month.
And if I recall the story correctly, the child and the parent were both totally traumatized because it was an unprovoked attack.
Yes, they were. So now the parents are pissed, and so is the mayor of San Jose, Matt Mahan. He is furious that Santa Clara County let this happen. For more, here is NBC in the Bay Area.
A San Jose family is livid with the legal system tonight. A homeless man with a history of mental health issues who assaulted their child on a San Jose street walked out of court a free man today after spending just weeks in jail.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a changed man.
Oh, yes. You know, we do call it the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Randy.
NBC Bay Area's Flavio Lacayo spoke with the child's mother, who's now demanding the county make changes to prevent this from happening again.
On his way to school about 2 months ago, this young man was physically and verbally assaulted by a homeless man with a long history of mental and drug addiction issues. On Tuesday,
of course, it's just compassionate to leave that person on the streets.
Oh, yes, especially for the children the guy beats up.
On Tuesday, a court ruling set the man free. Tonight, the victim's mother says she's angry and doesn't understand why he's being led back on the streets.
He's served only about 30 days in jail. He's been released. So my main frustration is, he brutally attacked a child. He has a terrible criminal history.
Now, Michelle Martinez.
And of course, that history will continue.
Oh, yes. And it's not like he brutally attacked a child who was making a bunch of noise on an airplane. He brutally attacked a child who was doing nothing wrong.
Now, Michelle Martinez is calling on Santa Clara County supervisors and state authorities to do more to protect people from the violent unhoused residents struggling with mental health issues, people who clearly pose a threat to others.
Our victim statements basically begged and pleaded the judge to sentence him to court-mandated drug and alcohol rehab and potentially mental health services. So the judge did do that, but it is the responsibility of this attacker now to go check in with court services.
Wait, they sentence him to outpatient treatment?
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you what this is. This is part of the new mental health loophole in the state of California, where it doesn't matter what the crime is that you committed. If you say you have a mental illness, you can get diversion for it, like outpatient mental health treatment. And it doesn't matter what the mental illness says. The loophole is so vast that you can argue, I beat up that kid because I had ADHD, and it's up to the prosecutor to prove that it wasn't your mental illness.
And here's what's going to happen. He's supposed to show up to these classes and for this particular treatment. You know he's not going to. And then there's going to be a warrant issued for his arrest. If and when he gets picked up again with an outstanding warrant, they're going to say, and by they, I mean the class of people that runs this state, well, he's a nonviolent offender. All he's wanted for is an outstanding warrant. How can you be tough on someone like this who's experiencing homelessness, and all he did was he has a warrant out for his arrest? That is a nonviolent offense.
The attack happened in San Jose last May and was caught by a surveillance camera. The city's mayor says he believes police and the court system did their job, but believes the county now needs to step up.
The county's been talking about rebuilding a jail for years. There are 5,000 beds in the local jail system, about 3,000 of which are being used. There's space at Elmwood.
So it's not like the jails are overcrowded. Why did the county let this guy out?
Because that's equity to them.
The county has a $12.5 billion budget a year. We need our county leaders to step up, get creative, and find capacity.
We're here just to kind of speak out to the community and let them know that this man is back out on our streets again.
For now, Michelle says she'll do what she can to make sure no one else has to face what her son did. In San Jose, Flavio Lacayo, NBC Bay Area News.
There you go. If you're wondering what accountability looks like in California for somebody that commits a violent act against a child, there it is.
Accountability.
And I want to say, when we did this story the first time and they caught the guy, because they didn't catch him right away, they had to go back and catch him at a later date. And they were all so excited that they finally caught the guy, and they thought, okay, well, the system's going to work and this guy's going to be punished. If I recall correctly, we said, oh no, your problems are just starting. Finding the guy is the easy part. Making sure that the state of California follows through with the sentencing, that's the hard part.
And this is happening over and over and over again throughout the entire state. Even when we find someone and arrest them and you've got someone that wants to prosecute it, the state does everything it can to make sure nobody spends any real time in prison.
And right now it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy,
Questions?
And Randy, this is another edition with a 4th of July flair.
A big fireworks bust in San Francisco. A whole bunch of fireworks found in a stolen U-Haul.
So it's multiple crimes committed.
For more, here's Cron 4.
A major fireworks bust in San Francisco. Nearly 2,000 pounds of fireworks were just discovered in a stolen U-Haul. As Cron 4's Teresa Stasio reports, the San Francisco sheriff says...
I wonder if U-Hauls are as easy to steal as Kias.
I don't think anything is easy to steal as Kias.
But do you remember, gosh, this must have been 2 years ago, we did that Crime Blotter story of a guy that was moving from San Diego to Northern California, just took a U-Haul, packed his entire life in there, drove up, decided to spend the night in Oakland, came out, U-Haul gone. His entire life gone.
It became a lot easier for him to move.
As Cron 4's Teresa Stasio reports, the San Francisco sheriff says they're going to continue to look for more illegal fireworks, and they also have a message to people about using banned explosives.
Take a look.
And when they opened up the truck, they found 1,648 pounds of illegal fireworks.
Wednesday, San Francisco.
Almost a ton of bombs.
Again, these aren't sparklers. Many of these are military-grade munitions.
Wednesday, San Francisco Sheriff Paul Miyamoto addressing the arrest of 2 suspects caught in a stolen U-Haul van in the Bayview district with nearly 2,000 pounds of illegal fireworks.
A lot of people purchase illegal fireworks to celebrate, usually 2 times a year during Lunar New Year celebrations at the beginning of the year and during the 4th of July celebrations.
Oh, I didn't think about that. In San Francisco, they got to deal with the Chinatown stuff in January.
Well, and how about on New Year's Eve? Fireworks are very popular then, too.
That's why I'd like to stay away from California during those holidays.
We see a proliferation of illegal fireworks being sold. We try to stop that because
I feel like this is the state that has banned all these fireworks, and you hear less incidents in the states that sell these things, like Arizona, than you do of all the nonsense that goes on here with the jackasses launching mortars in their backyards all night.
I have lived here my entire life. It wasn't this bad in the 80s and the 90s.
I can attest it has been this bad in the San Fernando Valley, and I've been living there for the past, 40 years.
Because we want people to celebrate safely. And some of these items are basically quarter sticks of dynamite, and they're basically very dangerous to hold, manipulate, and light on fire.
The sheriff giving recognition to the two deputies for their diligent work following the stolen U-Haul and netting the crackdown. The deputies received notice of the missing U-Haul through the county's flock detection network, a license plate reader system.
We're actually seeing some results from those license plate reading cameras in San Francisco. Not so much in Oakland because every car is already stolen and they ditch the plates.
The technology is great if you actually use it properly.
That can track down stolen cars.
It's a great example of the work that we have now in San Francisco with technology, being able to leverage this system in order to find a stolen vehicle and to take this amount of fireworks off the street are just an example of when the system works.
The takedown comes on the heels of this, another cache of illegal fireworks and yet another stolen U-Haul. That operation conducted by the San Francisco police last Friday.
There's been 2 different stolen U-Hauls full of fireworks in San Francisco in 2 weeks.
And for the record, I'm concerned about this not because I care if they blow their limbs off. I'm more than willing to allow those idiots to blow their limbs off. What I'm worried about is they're going to start a fire that's going to burn down everyone else's house and business, and then none of us are going to be able to buy insurance.
That operation conducted by the San Francisco police last Friday. In that seizure, hundreds of dangerous barrel bombs, rockets, and other explosives.
Barrel bombs?
Again, if the word bomb is in part of the title, it's not a firework.
Barrel bombs, rockets, and other explosives were confiscated. The van's driver was arrested and charged.
It's just a very unsafe situation for everyone.
Yeah, but what are we doing to take this seriously? Because there is so little risk of, number one, people getting caught for buying and setting these things off. And even if they are, what do we hear? Fines. If it's just fines, nobody's going to take it seriously. It is not a deterrent. And so the jackasses in the valley are going to make things go boom all night long.
In a perfect world, this is one of these crimes where I wouldn't care about it that much. But in a state that is going through an insurance crisis and we're in extreme fire risk all over the place, if you're literally playing with fire and something bad happens, instead of being able to throw the book at the person, they're just going to say, well, we're just teenagers having fun. I mean, how are we supposed to know this was going to happen? So that's why you have to crack down on it, because they're going to immediately play the part of the victim if something goes haywire.
Both the community, the people using the fireworks, and public safety would say, don't light it. Don't do it. Don't use it. Don't light it.
The Sheriff's Department and SFPD plan to have added patrols throughout the holiday to continue looking for illegal fireworks and ensure safety. Teresa Estacio, KRON 4 News.
So there you go. 2 different U-Haul busts in San Francisco in the last week. 2 different stolen U-Hauls full of fireworks.
All right, Randy, I think we have time to at least start the next edition of the Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And surprise, surprise, this one involves jewelry.
A woman in San Diego got robbed of her necklace in the middle of the day. For more, here is NBC7 in San Diego.
A really scary attack in broad daylight has left a City Heights woman afraid to just go out for her daily walk.
Her jewelry was ripped from her body and she was left with bumps and bruises, and the man who did it got away. NBC7's Allison Ash is live in Normal Heights with her story and reaction from other people who walk that same block where this brazen attack happened. Allison.
Yeah, we're here on Adams Avenue. If you're familiar with the area, we're just east of the Normal Heights sign. Now, Sophia asked us not to use her last name or to show her face.
Everyone's in the witness protection program.
You know, Randy, this is a new one because typically it's the jewelry shop that gets robbed. Now it's the jewelry customer.
But she was attacked right here on this sidewalk last week. It was an attack that was caught on 2 different security cameras.
He surprised me, like, he just came out of nowhere.
Surveillance video from a nearby building shows how it happened.
He just, like, came up from behind me, and then he grabbed me, like, really hard. And, like, I didn't even realize until, like, after, but, like, my shirt, he ripped it.
How dare he?
Boy, and just to clarify, this is about a jewelry robbery in San Diego. We're not playing you sound of one of Diddy's victims.
He, like, ripped my shirt to get my necklaces.
Grabbed Sophia by the neck, ripping these 2 gold necklaces right off her body and shoving her to the ground.
One of the necklaces, I've had him for 8 years. Yeah, and I wore it, like, every single day. I never took it off.
This video shows the attack from another angle, across the street. Behind the black car, you can see Sophia, then the man moving quickly behind her until he catches up and robs her in broad daylight.
Yeah, this is happening in the middle of the day in open public.
Which means the criminals have zero fear of being caught.
9 a.m. God, that is so sad. I don't know. That's crazy to think that, even especially in this neighborhood, I feel like it's kind of weird because there's so many people out all the time.
I feel like that's super scary. I'm a pregnant mom, so I don't want to have my head on a swivel all the time.
We checked crime stats for the area, and this kind of thing rarely happens here. San Diego police are calling.
It's not a trend until it is.
Nope.
San Diego police are calling the brazen robbery an isolated incident and are actively trying to find the attacker. Their advice, be aware of your surroundings. Crimes of opportunity can happen in even the safest neighborhoods.
And you know what comes next, because it happened in Los Angeles and it's going to happen everywhere else. The police are going to come out and say, well, you probably shouldn't be wearing jewelry.
Oh, yeah, because everyone on the planet comes to California so they can dress frumpy.
Sophia can attest to that.
I really want to raise awareness for other women because this is something really, like, it's really traumatizing. Like, I'm really struggling.
And when that guy gets caught, John, what do you think's going to happen to him?
He's going to have accountability, which means he's going to be in jail for 45 seconds.
That's what happened in San Diego.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Carl writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, if SFPD wants to stop fireworks, they can go to any shop in Chinatown in downtown. I was just there over Pride weekend. Every single shop was selling Disneyland orders and offering to light them for you in broad daylight. I did have a feeling.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've crossed the halfway point on today's program, if you want to listen to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcast, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could do a Google on the YouTube. Search for The John Phillips Show on YouTube. You can find all the episodes there. You can get the KABC app. You can get the KSFO app. There are so many different ways to listen to this radio station. You can listen to these shows when you're working, when you're exercising. You can even listen to us while you're having lunch.
Give me the foot. I'm hungry.
And if you're in Fresno on a Saturday, you can listen to us there, too.
On Saturdays from 2 to 3 p.m., you can hear the Fix California Hour with John Phillips and Randy Wang on KMJ in Fresno, serving the entire Central Valley, some California goodness. Listen to us every Saturday from 2 to 3, 580 AM, 105.9 FM in the Central Valley, or you can stream it on the website, kmjnow.com.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, the city of Oakland takes a lot of heat for not having a fully operational 911 system. But, Randy, they don't have a monopoly here in the state of California.
No, they don't. L.A. has plenty of 911 failures, including what happened in Eagle Rock this week, where someone's home caught fire. They did what they were supposed to do, call 911 to alert the fire department to save their home, and it went to voicemail.
You know, typically if you want someone to answer the phone, you send them a text message with 911 there. In this case, he didn't have to text message 911. He called 911.
I kid you not. A neighbor decided to just run to the fire station and go tell them.
Smart move.
For more on LA's failure of a 911 system, here is Fox 11 in Los Angeles.
It's a disturbing case because when we need help, we call 911 and we expect to hear 911, what's your emergency? Well, as you'll see, that response is not always guaranteed.
And just remember, as you hear this story, how much we all pay to live in this monstrosity of a city.
We pay a fortune.
What the happened here?
And by the way, that's an appropriate response to this.
What happened here?
When a fire broke out on Sunday afternoon at Mia and Robert Crosswhite's home in Eagle Rock.
So I started screaming, somebody called 911.
I called 911, I'm on, and it kept going to a weird messaging system. And I couldn't get a live person. And it was so frustrating.
Wait, is our 911 going to one of those AI phone trees?
I wonder if the person who was supposed to answer the phone was on their lunch break and they said, I don't have time for this. And they sent them to voicemail.
Welcome to 911. If you can, in a few words, say fire, being robbed, actively being decapitated, and we'll try to connect you with the right person.
Well, you have to press 1 for English first.
And I couldn't get a live person. And it was so frustrating.
Mia says she was on the phone with 911 for about 10 minutes.
I don't know if they were overloaded. I don't know what the situation was. All I know is I couldn't get through to a person to talk with.
A neighbor was forced to physically run to Fire Station 42, located just around the corner, to alert firefighters.
It was faster to run to the fire station than to use the telephone.
And this is in the state that is home to Silicon Valley.
All I know is I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody. And then when you're in a panic mode, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be on my phone trying to press a key and a pound and a 3-1 and a press 1 for English. I mean, it's just this.
There it is.
Told you.
It's not just a joke.
Press 1 for English. I mean, it's just this. I just want to have 911. What's your emergency?
The fire, which began after a backyard barbecue, quickly consumed the entire.
Got to clean those grills, people.
Every once in a while, you have to do it. Maybe not after every use, but just once in a blue moon.
Once a year, at least.
Quickly consumed the entire home. Robert believes the delay in reaching 911 significantly worsened the outcome.
I would honestly say they could have got here 5 minutes earlier. And I know that 5 minutes earlier is a big difference.
Seconds count in a house fire.
Could you imagine if your stuff just got destroyed in that fire because 911 didn't work?
I feel like, and I know I shouldn't say this because the city's already broke, but feel like there's a lawsuit coming.
How about if you're having a heart attack and they send you to voicemail?
What you might want to do if you happen to be rather overweight and prone to heart attacks is just buy your own defibrillator and just have it ready to go because you might need to zap yourself before the ambulance can get there.
We all need medical training just in case.
And the fire trucks are right around the corner.
It's not the fire department. It's the system with the 911. You can't get through.
Rudy Zuzzo, who lives across the street from the Crosswhites, says he had a similar experience when calling 911. Back in November, he says his mother, Trudy, suffered a fall. Rudy immediately called 911 for help.
This is why you need Life Alert, people.
Anyone named Trudy, Trudy definitely needs it.
What are you alleging? That nobody in this generation would name their new baby Trudy?
Nope.
How about Gertie?
Nope. You want to keep going?
Agatha.
Nope.
At some point, there was a baby named Agatha. That happened.
Well, at some point, there were a lot of them named Agatha.
I called 911 on one phone. I called my sister on the other phone. She lives in Glendale on Pacific. It's a 10 to 12 minute drive. She got here before I could get through on 911.
Okay, this is beyond pathetic.
I mean, are we at a point now where it's faster to call an Uber than call an ambulance?
Well, and if you call them out on this, they'll say, oh, well, we're working on it. We're going to issue a study, and we're going to figure out what happened.
It's a 10 to 12 minute drive. She got here before I could get through on 911, and I ended up running down to the fire station, which is just around the corner.
Rudy, Robert, and Mia don't blame the firefighters. They blame the 911 system, and they're urging the city.
Of course, it's not the firefighters' fault. They literally were not told.
No, the moment they were notified about the fire, they fought the fire. But you have to tell them.
I mean, what do we have to do? Does everyone now have to get in touch with their local fire station and be like, can I slide into your DMs when it's really important?
Just bring them Dunkin' Donuts on occasion so that you're in their good graces.
Can I get your personal phone number? I'll just send you a text with the fire and the house emoji, and you'll know.
They blame the 911 system, and they're urging the city to fix it before someone loses their life.
Well,
that's not going to happen with Karen Bass in charge.
Nope.
Well, it's frustrating when you know every second counts, every minute counts, and while you're waiting, if it was somebody drowning, if it was every second counts.
It's a serious problem. Now, we did contact the LA Fire Department media relations, but no one got back to us.
Nobody's answering.
But no one in this state answers the phone. Have you noticed that? 911 doesn't. The mayor's office doesn't. We know Ricardo Lara doesn't.
Well, unless you got tickets to DJ Kitty Glitter.
Oh, then he answers right away.
I can tell you that it was firefighters themselves, inside sources, who told us about this case because they are extremely concerned about the 911 system.
Oh, I love that. So it wasn't the homeowners that tipped off Fox 11 and sent Gina Silva out there. No. It was the firefighters themselves that have had enough of this bureaucratic nonsense and tipped off on their bosses.
Well, they're the ones, I'm sure, that get yelled at. If you show up 30 minutes after a fire starts because you only found out about it 25 minutes into the fire, they're going to scream their heads off at you, and then you're not going to be able to save the house.
The city of Los Angeles just passed a $14 billion budget. And with $14 billion, you can't properly staff a 911 system?
Not here.
We have been told that they are incredibly short-staffed, and that's obviously the problem. If there are no 911 operators to pick up your emergency, it's going to go to that recorded message. Now, when we talk about...
Welcome to 911. We're sorry. All available lines are busy right now. Please continue to hold unless somebody is actively trying to kill you. In that case, hang up and run away.
You know what's going to eventually happen? This is a prediction. And I want you to put a pin in this because I bet you I'm going to be right. At some point in the future, they're going to say we should ship those calls out to the Philippines too.
Is this 911 or Res?
When we talk about...
Will they give them American-sounding names?
Oh, yeah. Bobby. Hey there, Bobby. My house is on fire over in Eagle Rock. And Bobby, of course, is going to never have heard of Eagle Rock before, so he's going to send out a fire truck in Texas.
When we talk about staff shortages, it's the same thing with the LA Fire Department. Tomorrow, I've been told there will be 109 positions that will be unstaffed, and that includes 21 paramedic ambulance roles. So yes, emergency services, dangerously thin.
Wait, did someone just launch off an illegal firework in the background of this story in Eagle Rock?
It sounded like it.
Ambulance roles. So yes, emergency services,
That was an explosion.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This city specifically, Los Angeles, is full of jackasses.
Ambulance roles. So yes, emergency services,
Maybe Gavin was on cocaine, and that's what happened in the background.
dangerously thin. Alex, Christine?
Gina Silva, thank you so much. Hopefully that was just a firework or something that just...
Well, the good news is if it was something else, she's there to report on it.
Gina Silva, thank you so much. Hopefully that was just a firework or something that just went off behind you. And we appreciate your reporting.
Thanks, Gina.
I love the fact that we can't do a live shot on the news without a siren going off or an explosion.
Ambulance roles. So yes, emergency services, dangerously thin.
The timing of it is great, too. You know what? I have to save this. I need to remember that this happened.
Emergency services, dangerously thin.
Whoever the bomber is has tremendous comedic timing.
Emergency services, dangerously thin.
Okay, here's what I want to do right now at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. We are on the air in Southern California. We're on the air in Northern California. We know that Oakland has had a real tough time with 911. We know that Los Angeles has a real tough time with 911. We know that there have been outages in the Inland Empire, including all along the 10 freeway in between Indio and the Arizona state line, where if you can't get a hold of emergency personnel, if there's an accident or something, then they're going to be in real bad shape. So here's our question to you at 800-222-5222. Have you ever called 911 and had a completely ridiculous hold time or a completely ridiculous response where they did something like hang up on you or send you to voicemail or just let it ring forever? I want to know if you've called 911 and had a totally ridiculous experience. 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222, 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. We just heard from a couple in Los Angeles whose home burned down, at least in part, from a fire. They called 911. They got sent to voicemail. Apparently, they're not alone. The reason the news found out about this is because the fire department tipped them off saying it happens all the time. I want to know, have you had to call 911 and you got a totally ridiculous response? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Randy, who's up first?
Let's start with Patrick in Walnut Creek. Patrick, hello.
Hello, guys. Doing a fine job today. I am a driver for DoorDash. Exciting stuff, I know. But I am on the road 7 days a week. So I am on the phone finding accidents and furniture on the freeways and that sort of thing. And I called 911 to report all this good stuff. And 6 times out of 12, I am put on hold for 10, 20, 30 minutes before finally somebody answers the phone. Yeah, I know. So it's great fun. By that time, the chair's been smashed by 3 cars, and there's now a multi-car accident. So guess what? You better send CHP, ambulances, and the fire department, because they are done.
Maybe what they should do is just turn over 911 to QVC, because they seem to answer quickly.
Yes, they do, but they want your money.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to John in Sonoma. John, hello.
Hey. Call. I was
Oh, John, I'm sorry. I can't make out what you're saying. Give us a call back, and we'll try to find a cleaner line. In the meantime, let's go to Raymond in the Bay Area.
Hi. I used to live in Switzerland. There's a number, it's 112, and you call, and they are literally in seconds. I was involved in an accident, and I guess it's in Oakland on the bridge, and I've waited literally about 20 minutes before they even answered the 911. It's ridiculous.
And that would screw up everyone's commute trying to get from the East Bay to San Francisco. And instead of responding to it promptly, they just let everyone's commute get crunched.
Yeah, and I was hit by this. Apparently, later on, they told me it's a stolen car. My insurance company, of course, paid for the repairs. But it's just, this whole state is insane. I can't wait to sell my properties and move away.
Oh, I feel you, buddy.
All right. Thank you for the call. If you're on hold, stay there. I know a lot of you want to weigh in on this. If you've had to call 911 and the response was totally ridiculous, we want to hear from you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222.